You have just entered the KBMOD podcast. Keyboard plus mouse or die.
Welcome to episode 61 of the KBMOD podcast, guys. To all the people live here, we are on the 61st episode. No Scott Fisher tonight. Too busy being super famous and going to movie premieres and stuff or something. No, he's way beyond his own ego at this point. He's just out of control. But we have several replacements for Scott. It's what he does best, so now we're replacing him. We got Hex joining us tonight, of course. Back again. And we've got Knack Fenton and John and Brandon from the normal cast. And then, of course, tonight, we've been waiting. We had to wait an extra week, guys, but they're here. We got Jason Hughes and Paul Loynd from Hawken here.
Hey, hello, guys.
And they will be talking some Hawken with us.
Hawken. So smooth.
Talking some Hawken.
So
oh, nice.
So, we'll start with Jason. So why don't you tell the people what you do there?
Hello,
with
people.
With the old Hawken.
Hello, people.
Yes.
I am here at Adhesive Games. I am the producer of the title. I do lots of things. I'm all over the place. I am the guy who tries to keep all the gears moving and get this thing done and make it an awesome game.
And
so many hats. So I am the publishing producer over on the Meteor side of things. So I work directly with Jason to get Hawken out. I do all the publishing side tasks though, so I deal with like release management stuff, the ratings and the localization, and we provide QA for Jason and the guys down at Adhesive, and then also the business side of things, and everything that Jason doesn't need to bother with, so that he can focus on making the game.
So it's been kind of crazy. We first heard of this game, and everyone, at least with our site, all the people who pay attention to KBMOD were super pumped when Hawken was first announced, mainly because there hasn't been a Mech game for a long time, and now there's you guys and a new Mech warrior coming out, so everyone's really pumped.
Yeah.
And I got to play the game at PAX East at the party you guys had with John. John was also at it, and we both got to get hands on with it there, and that only made us more excited.
That feels like forever ago. How long ago was that? What month was that?
That was April. That was April.
Yeah, April. Yeah,
April?
Beginning of April.
Okay.
That was so long ago.
Feels like so long ago. I'm an old man now.
I know. So what's it been like? It's been crazy. Like, we've been keeping up with the news. You got tons of hype with the game now. You've got the live action trailers going out. You got all the funding coming in. You got E3. It was super well received.
Yeah.
The Oculus Rift's on it. So what's that been like? I mean, it's been kind of a crazy ride, I would guess.
It's been a crazy ride. We've been really fortunate. I think when I met you guys and you had a chance to have some hands-on time there at PAX East. I mean, I made a big deal of it then, and I still make a big deal of it. That was the first time that we'd really had anyone have a chance to play some of the game like that. I mean, we haven't been focusing on press. Very few people outside of Adhesive and even the Meteor office had a chance to really play it, and getting feedback from the fans, that was a really big deal, and that's part of why I flew out there. I mean, not only is PAX East awesome, but to talk to people who had a chance and play a really early build of the game. I mean, that was pretty basic at that point. It was a match. It was like a map and a match that I brought with me. So everything past that point, it's just been a matter of just getting the game done. It takes a lot to get games done. Development is hard. But to get work is hard to get everything done and to make sure that the game is going to be something that not only we're proud of, but people are going to have a fun time with. That's no small task. And with E3, the reception was was great. It was all that we could have hoped for, and even most recently at PAX Prime, like it was another awesome chance to have a chance to meet fans and talk to them about it, and see people lining up multiple times, and always having a line to play the game. That's always a good sign that you're onto something good.
Yeah, that was really probably one of the greatest moments for me personally. Was PAX is. You guys know, I mean, as you know, Meteor is located in Seattle, so PAX Prime is kind of like, for us, that's like our backyard, right? It's our bread and butter. It's kind of hometown advantage thing, and we were just so excited to see a never-ending line of people coming to play the game and just standing around to watch the game. And both Jason and I were like taking duty, switching duty as playing kind of like a makeshift announcer for the game, which was just a lot of fun. People were just having a blast. People were coming back playing the game again and again and again. And it's kind of like it's great to see all that work validated, right? I'm sure Jason can speak to it even more than I can, of just being able to see all that hard work and all those late nights paying off in the form of smiles and laughs as people are just sitting at the keyboard blowing each other up.
Yeah, that's no small thing. I've been in the industry for a while, and that never gets old for me.
Yeah, I wanted to get more hands-on time with it at PAX, but there was always a line, and so I didn't. I felt bad. Like I didn't want to take up other people's time with it. But you now are just in alpha, and yep. So what? You were just talking to us before the cast a little bit about kind of the amount the game has already iterated. Even from PAX East, like you said, seems like forever ago, because I'm sure the game has changed quite a bit from then until now.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Well, it's a lot of. I mean, the fortunate thing that we had is we sort of hit a good sweet spot with the gameplay, and it started feeling good even from the beginning. So that's a tricky thing to hit. As long as the game is fun and people have a good time with it, that's what you want to hit. And being able to get that right, or to at least be on that track early on, that does nothing but help us. But yeah, things have totally changed. And it's also a matter of making sure that we're there to support the public with additional content, and making sure that it works smoothly, and that the customization works, and that it's actually and that it's engaging, and all the different assets that are in there, the game, the design mechanics. There's a lot that goes into it, because we really have since last year, about a year. The game the scope for the game has gone up since where it was a year ago. There's no question. Paul's laughing, but
I am laughing because
it's like an understatement of the world.
So nonchalant about it. Yeah, the scope of the game's gone up. We added a couple things.
We just added
the initial video you guys released that like people went absolutely batshit insane over. There was like two of you working on the game at that point, right?
There was
four.
There's four. Okay.
There was. I think at the peak of that there were maybe, I think it was like 9 guys. I think at peak to where that video came out, and a lot of it was just interns. A lot of it was, just guys who wanted to work on the project and get some hands-on time with development. And like I said, even in sort of the pre-show, there were 11 of us here in March of this year. And that was it. So what you guys saw basically at PAX was as a result of at most like 11 guys, as far as development is concerned. So everyone worked really, really hard, and we've done nothing but just up the scope and up the ante, push all in on a lot of stuff. And I think that that you're going to see the effort in not only the maps and stuff that we haven't shown, but what people have seen, and all the little extra bells and whistles, the sugar on top that's being there, the polish that we put in. There's so much effort and attention on polish, so that when everyone has a chance to play in December, like that'll be, if we have people's interest now, hopefully we can get even more interest in December and keep them playing.
Yeah, as far as the game itself, I think John will agree. From going from the PAX East extremely early build to playing it at PAX Prime was like the game wasn't bad at all in the early build. You could obviously tell it was an early build, but when getting our hands on the PAX Prime build, the way it looked just visually, goodness. So much polish has been added since then.
There's a lot of little things that go in. I mean, we've had a great we've had a great partnership with NVIDIA. Those guys are amazing, and we definitely haven't shown all we're going to have for launch as far as cool stuff is concerned. But like I said, it's little things. Like you can see now if you played the game at PAX, you could see some of the the debris and particles that actually stay persistent now and can get kicked around, and those actually have collision attached to it. So it's the lighting. We've done a lot of stuff with lighting, some post processing, and it's just all those little things that we work on to try to make it just even that much more of an experience. And we're always tweaking. What people see now is that is not what is going to, the base is there, but hopefully December it's, people think it's even, holy smokes, even that much better than what they're seeing now.
That's the crazy thing about Hawken, right? I mean, when you're talking about Hawken as a game, right? What it's a first-person shooter, right? And how many first-person shooters are out there? There's a ton of them. So, why is Hawken why does it stand out so much? And one of the really important things, I would say the key pillars for us, in terms of what's important when developing Hawken is that experience of being in a mech, right? And like Jason talked about, those little details, they're so paramount to recreating an experience for the player where they don't feel like they're just another dude pointing and shooting. They're in a mech. They feel that weight and that power behind that machine. So they don't feel like every other FPS. They feel like it's a unique experience that no other game provides. And just everything from just little sounds of the mech walking to the way that the UI moves, to the way that the weapons fire, to the way that the chassis swivels. It's all very planned and methodically thought out.
Yes.
To create an experience for the players.
Yeah,
that was the first thing I noticed at PAX, and I told Dan because I played it before he did, because I guess you showed up a little after me, I think, and he walked up to me and he says, "How is it?" And I was like, "You're in a mech." That's how you explain how Hawken feels. It's like you're in a mech. There's nothing else to it. Like you're playing a shooting game inside of a mech. It's incredible how unique it feels.
Yeah, and I think because it feels unique, because you're a mech game, you kind of are already starting out in a different place than a lot of shooters out there. But you also don't have a ton of other shooters to draw from, in terms of how the mech should look, there are a lot of games, first-person shooter games, that kind of look the same, and you kind of know what your UI should look like, kind of what, are you going to have aim down sight, are you not? It's you don't really have those sort of starting points to even ask, because I think that we haven't really seen a present day mech game, so you're kind of building from the ground up on a lot of those core pieces of the gameplay. Right?
What's really interesting about that though is some would call those challenges and I would call them opportunities, because it's actually kind of it's almost a sort of freedom for us to be able to not have to worry about the common conventions of typical FPS games, because we don't have to do those things. You're in a mech, you're not a person, so we can do new things and it's fine. We can go in new directions, and we're encouraged to go in new directions to kind of change what people think is an FPS, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's even things with the with the movement, that's the hardest thing at first. I think when getting into the game, where if you're out there, if you're watching right now live, if you get into Hawken at some point, beta or this alpha or whatever, the first thing you will notice is that you'll be like, oh, it's a first-person shooter, and then it's totally not once you're in the cockpit. Using the S to 180 and that kind of stuff, and then being able to double tap and kind of sprint and those kind of things, it's totally different that way.
I mean, that's a good point. That's something that I've tried that I point out is, the videos make the game look like one way. If you're passively watching the game, it looks, whatever. It looks like what you're seeing, right? But if you're playing the game, it does feel different. It does feel different than it does to watch it. There are subtleties there, and that's part of that polish. But it does play differently than it looks. So there are a lot of first-person shooters out there, but the difference is if people just sort of give it a try, see how it feels. It feels different than it looks a little bit.
Just the tip.
Yeah.
Just the tip.
Just give it a try.
Danger zone.
word.
Lana! Can you guys talk a little bit about kind of where, I guess, what is in the alpha now in terms of like, game types or kind of whatever you can talk about now, and maybe what's coming down the pipeline that people can expect to see as the alpha progresses, and then into beta, and then ultimately into the release date of that 12/12/12 date.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
So I'd say first the most important thing to understand about our alpha is that we were more concerned with other things that weren't necessarily revolving around gameplay for alpha.
Right.
We want to make sure that the game can be played by tons of people. So, I mean, in terms of the content in the alpha, it's not really so much about that as it is about having a really smooth experience for launch.
I will say that the focus, a lot of the focus of what we're curious about for alpha isn't necessarily things that people will see. We have some game modes in there, we have some maps in there, and we have, our storefront, and we have elements of customization. We have all that stuff, but there's a lot that people don't see of why we're doing alpha and what we're sort of fixing behind the scenes and what we're trying to have polished up. So for us, it's not so much about testing specific content at this point. It's testing functionality. It's testing performance. It's testing things globally. It's testing. We still have to optimize the game. There's so many content has to go in there. There's a whole mix of stuff that still has to be done. And like the full version of the game has those things. This is more about, okay, we need to have, we hit a certain point in development where we need feedback, and we need a lot of other people testing the game to see what happens.
Yeah, it's we're ratcheting down the bolts, right? Just tightening everything up and going.
Wait, you're saying that the alpha's purpose is to gather data, and it's not just like a massive marketing scheme?
What?
I can say that it is a true alpha test, and guess what? Our closed beta will be a true beta test. It is
no.
Yeah, if you can believe it, it's not a marketing.
Now?
It's not a marketing beta. That without naming names, that is something that's always cracked me up. Is like, oh yeah, so we're launching this beta for everyone to try. The game's already being manufactured right now, but it is a we'll want people's feedback, and we'll take your feedback. But yes, you'll be able to buy it in 2 weeks.
And buy your way into the alpha.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing in terms of like how we're trying to approach, providing a high quality experience. If we can leverage the Hawken player base as quality assurance, essentially, like if they can, we will let them come play the game, and if they'll let us know if something's wrong early, then we're going to have a smoother launch, right? That's really important to us. Everybody's played games. I won't name any specific games, but I'm sure you can all think of games this year where we were so excited on launch day and everything blew up in a fire, and that's the last thing that we want for Hawken. We want people to just be able to jump on and immediately have fun. And we want the game to be smooth and play well for everybody, and we don't want issues. And so, yeah, just like Jason said, we actually want data. What we want more than anything is we want people to get in, play the game, and tell us.
37 is my favorite number.
30.
Error 37. Anyone?
Yeah. No,
there we
go.
Dealer?
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
It's happening with Miss right now.
That was pretty smooth.
I've been seeing tweets.
And they're the technical aspects, but there's also just the gameplay aspects. There's a lot of when you're really close to a game, and I do nothing but look at Hawken, for 60 hours a week, whatever it is. Like there are certain things that's just natural. You just lose. It's a forest from the trees kind of thing. So if you're out there and you say, hey, you like this game, would really like to see what is confusing to you, what doesn't make sense. And there are things that feedback that we get that we can get where it's like, wow, I had no idea that was confusing to somebody, or I had no idea that they didn't know what that means, or I had no idea they had a problem with that, or look, everyone's getting caught up on this one corner, why is that? I've never done that. So it's that kind of feedback that is absolutely like beyond essential to make sure this all goes smoothly. And I think the fact that we had it in players' hands before press, I think that just sort of speaks to what's important to us. Obviously, not that press taking a look at it isn't important, but the focus is I mean, we have forums set up for those who are on alpha right now, so they can give us feedback. Not only do we have questionnaires, but also just forums set up so people can take a look at that. And within hours, like there are guys here at the studio who started taking a look at that stuff and posting comments. So it's like we aren't taking it lightly, and it's all part of what's necessary to make sure this thing is as good as we can possibly get it.
It's funny, and it almost sounds cliche, right? You know, to hear like, oh, we're all about the player. You know, like, I mean, how we hear that all the time. Like, I'm a gamer. I'm a huge gamer. I've been playing games since I was like 5 years old, and so I've heard that so many times. I'm like, yeah, you're all about the player. Yeah, sure you are. You're all about my money. That's what you're all about. But like, really, Jason like is totally on. He's hitting it right on the point. And then like, we want the community is so important, right? Like at the end of the day, your players are your bread and butter. So like, they're your most important resource. We're making this game for them. You know, we want them to enjoy it. And it's funny, you know, like Jason talks about the forest from the trees, and it happens. You know, you don't want it to happen. You try to avoid it, but it's so hard to not get inside that little box. And it never ceases to amaze me. Like when you put the game out there in the wild and you let people start playing it, people will always surprise you. Like rule number 1 of game development, people will always surprise you, and they will do things you never ever thought you could do in your game.
So it definitely is going to be. So if anyone does win an alpha key tonight, it is definitely going to be a real alpha. So be prepared for that, and be prepared to give actual feedback. So
feedback is good. It's what we want. It's what we crave.
And learn how to give feedback to people. Take this as a lesson on how to give feedback to people. Learn how to do it correctly.
It's and I will say, it is perfectly okay if you don't like something. That is okay. Just be able to have like a real a conversation about it, constructive feedback. I'm totally like, I love talking to people about the game. There, any of the shows that we've gone to, and even as recent as PAX Prime, people having concerns or questions about stuff. I love talking about things because that's part of my existence on this thing is to make it as good as possible and to find out what people are liking, what they have questions of. So as long as it's real feedback, constructive, there's some thought behind it. It's really frustrating and really difficult to respond to. Your game effing sucks. Like, oh well, okay.
Thanks, bro. That's my favorite one. Thanks, brah.
Thanks, bro.
I'll go take that back to the devs.
I don't know how to use that feedback really. I don't. How do I make it? How do I fix that?
So you have to, because he doesn't like it. You have to start the project over entirely. Because it's shit.
Exactly.
So we should. So they're saying all caps rants on Twitter, I think is what you're asking for, right?
Yeah, that's what you definitely would want.
Actually, read your fucking NDA too. None of that. No more lectures from Jason on Twitter, guys.
Do read
Please read the NDA.
A couple people got banned today.
Good.
Yep. Good old Nikon Punch, who's one of our guys who helps us on the site here, found like 3 videos today and tweeted them all out and was like, dislike and flag these.
Yeah.
So
it's unfortunate. I mean, part of why we're taking it seriously is, perception is a big deal of the game. Where I think, I gave sort of the thumbs up and a go ahead to do something that I'm not sure a lot of developers do, or kind of. I mean, I don't know if it'll bite us or not, but I mean, we have in there as some stuff that clearly we have marked as not final stuff. It's very clear. So people who aren't involved and aren't going through that entire flow of the NDA and the chat and the and the forums and that entire process of why we're doing the alpha and what that actually means to us. Being an outsider and just kind of looking at that, it's just stuff. Not all that stuff is ready for people to see. We're really pulling back the curtain on, I think, more than a lot of people do. I mean, we're confident in it, but at the same time, there's a reason it's closed for a reason. We need to keep it focused and we need to keep it on point, and it really is just to try to make the game better.
So I think the next thing we wanted to dive into here is the competitive side of things.
Oh.
What's the approach to esports for you guys? Like, is it something that you're considering? Is it something that you take very seriously?
I did watch the Valencia e-Congress for a little bit. I noticed you had a rep at that. Yeah. I don't know if you guys. So obviously there's some interest.
It's totally something that's important to us. Esports is definitely on our radar, and I mean, for anyone that follows esports, like that stuff's just getting out of control, right? I mean, it's growing so fast, and I mean, this year when I was at Gamescom, the crowds at the League of Legends tournament or the StarCraft 2 tournament were like, I don't even know how many people. I have to imagine it was probably
like a professional football game.
It was like a professional football game. It was insane.
Point, yeah.
They had rows of chairs like set up in these massive booth spaces, and they were all filled, plus people in the aisles. Like you couldn't even move through those areas. Yeah, it was insane. And so, like, I mean, would we like that for Hawken? Definitely. Do we think that Hawken kind of fits into that mold? I mean, totally. Hawken is a Twitch skill-based game. There's so many moments, and I mean, what makes esports awesome, right? Like, why do people watch esports? Because those games cater to a certain kind of element that allows people to get excited and create situations, like just like in any real sport, right? Like you watch sports, and when a player does something amazing, you're just like blown away, and it's entertainment on a level that you can't manufacture, right? It just kind of organically happens, and I feel like that happens with Hawken so many times. There's so many times when like you go rushing into a point and there's 3 mechs and there's no way you should win that battle, but like for whatever reason things roll your way. You throw a grenade in the right direction and hits these guys, and you're able to, like, somebody comes in and snipes the dude you're right, and just those like edge of your seat moments, which I think make esports so attractive. Like we definitely want to put Hawken out there. We're working with. We're working on our esports strategy right now. We don't have anything that we can specifically announce as to what we're going to be doing. But I mean, it's totally on the radar, and we totally want to break into esports with Hawken.
So I have a question for you guys. Like, being somebody who's played a lot of first-person shooters at a pretty high level, how do you feel like playing Hawken, how do you feel other FPSs translate into that? Because the thing that you'll notice about Hawken, anybody who gets an alpha key or anybody who's played it, is that it doesn't feel like any shooter you've ever played before. So you're gonna feel completely out of place for a while. How do you feel like you're going to be able to pull like old school FPS players who've been playing other FPS games at the highest levels into Hawken, and how well do you think they'll translate?
It's definitely a paradigm shift, right? Because it's such a different game, you're right. It's like those older FPS players are definitely going to have to go through kind of a watershed moment where they're like, all right, well, I know how to play FPSs, but there's some differences here, like in the speed with the way that the mech. The movement, first of all, is totally different. Like, people are going to have to relearn movement a little bit. Like, there's no such thing as side dashing in normal FPSs. It's actually funny. Like, we play Hawken so much. I was telling Jason the other day that I was playing Borderlands 2 the other night, and I kept wanting to side dash, and I was getting pissed off that I couldn't side dash, and I kept getting killed by things because I was
My thing is, like, a lot of guys have that really fast twitch reaction. Somebody shooting them in the back, and they can just fling their mouse around and snap right onto them. You're not going to be able to do that in Hawken, and that's going to be funny as hell to see people try to do that.
That's know what, it's something you can kind of do with the 180, right? But like, movement is a lot more important.
Hello.
Well, and not just mechy, but like efficiency of movement, right? Like when you decide to make the real skilled players in Hawken, like when you really start to take apart like why a player is better than another player at Hawken, there's a very specific set of skills that they'll have, and one of those is efficiency of movement. Because it's a mech, and because there's limitations to how it moves, there's like they're going to have to learn when's the best time to use a specific movement. It's not as simple. It's not as simple as just like, oh, I'll move left or I'll move right. Like when you decide to boost, you're essentially like you're dodging a weapon, but you're also opening yourself up to a vulnerability, right? Like one of the things that I'll do all the time, like this is kind of a pro move. When you go into battle,
this guy's already.
This guy over here, Paul. Yeah.
Oh, look at me! I got a pro move. Let me tell you how the pros do it.
Let me fucking talk. I'm just trying to talk here, man. Okay, so anyway, yeah. Pro tip, everyone. No, when you go into battle, like you can tell who's a new player because typically what they'll do is like you'll start shooting at someone and they'll immediately dash. It's the first thing that they do. They'll just dash out of the way. If they're hitting you with if you're getting hit with primary guns, like primary weapons obviously don't do as much weapon damage as secondary weapons. So like you can tell who's a new player because they'll just dash immediately, which means they've burned up that dash, right? There's a cooldown before you can dash again. So what I'll do is I'll trick people into dashing, and then, depending on the direction I think they're going to dash, you just fire your special weapon, and you lead them basically. But that's something that's different for FPS players, right? They're going to have to start learning to anticipate those kind of movements from people, because when the mechs dash, like they move so fast that you're not going to catch them mid-flight. You're going to have to anticipate where they're going and shoot there. Like that's when you start doing that. That's when you start like getting really good at the game and start outmaneuvering people, because you know when to use your quick movements, your dashes, and your 180s and things like that to kind of maximize the efficiency of your movement and give yourself an advantage over other players who aren't being as efficient with their movement and who aren't able to keep their weapons on you for as long because they're being sloppy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's another thing that Hawken has in common with other FPSs. I mean, it's a different mechanic, obviously, with the movement in Hawken, but half of being a good Quake player or being a good Team Fortress 2 player is all movement. I mean, like if you watch a professional Quake player play, like he's strafe jumping faster than you can imagine, and that's what sets him apart, is his ability to utilize everything in the game movement wise to outclass his opponents. And I think that's something that Hawken shares with games like Quake.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talk about that a lot, like games like Tribes and Quake and stuff. Those are the games I like the most when they have that big movement component, and Hawken definitely feels like that too.
Well, that was also a very conscious decision as far as our design is concerned. Is there's no one-hit kills, there's no one-shot kills, and the reason for that is, I mean, not only are you in a mech, but it's a little bit of a miniature sort of standoffs. It's a little sort of miniature chess players, chess moves with players that you're playing against. You have these sort of back and forths that go on, and there's a lot of strategy. Just even with one-on-one encounters, the goal is to really get familiar with how you move and how you play, when to shoot, when you don't, what items you should use, when you use your special ability. When people get in there's a lot more depth to it than what it appears with the options that we have in there, and that's no one-hit kills. We want there to be some strategy in those face-offs.
Well, I mean, that's something that's very important with shooters, though. Like that movement mechanic, sure, that's there for the players who take it seriously, want to get really good. But a normal player can just pick up the game and come in, and they'll probably be able to kill somebody. I think you have to find that correct balance there. Like I can, anybody could pick up Tribes and kill somebody. At some point, eventually, maybe.
Eventually. I mean, that's how we.
Maybe not your best example.
One of the things that's great about Hawken is it's easy to pick up, right? Like any good game, it's easy to pick up. You can start playing, you can figure it out really quickly and get the basics of the mechanics, right? But the real fun comes from the mastery of those mechanics. Like, for instance, one of my favorite moves to pull on people with the Sable rifle, like the Sable rifle.
Is this another pro tip, Paul? Is this another pro tip?
Oh God!
I did tell everyone to tweet pro tip.
Hashtag PTP pro tip, Paul.
Yeah. They're already, I can already see in the chat line. They're already on my Twitter feed hashtagging pro tip on my Twitter account. So the Sable rifle is. It's not very effective with no scope. You can't really no scope with it. When you shoot the Sable rifle, which is the equivalent of our sniper rifle, when you're not scoped, it wanders quite a bit. So like if they're outside, I'd say, what, Jason, 15, 20 meters, like your chance of hitting them is pretty low. It's going to miss. But like when players get really good, like some of the players who love to play with the Sable rifle, like they'll be like flying through the air and a dude will come dashing out and they'll just like, they'll middle mouse real quick to zoom in. Boom, and just like blast the guy and then like zoom back out and go back to run, like just a real quick scope and then move on. And it's just like so fun to watch because it's like so quick and dirty that you're like, oh yes.
You heard it here first. Hawken will have quick scoping.
Yeah, you can zoom in and out with the scope really fast. It's literally just like like that fast.
We did slow that down just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I mean, you can quick scope. But because you can one-shot people...
We did slow that down just a little bit.
because you can't put up, it's not like you can run around quick scoping and just killing everyone in one hit. It's more of a thing like if somebody surprises you, like because most of the time as a sniper, like one of the things that sucks as a sniper is like if somebody surprises you up close, like usually that's and you have your sniper rifle out, usually that's GG, right? Like, oh crap, I have one bullet and then I have to reload and they have a shotgun. I'm not going to win this battle. But in Hawken you can actually still make things happen with the quick scoping. You're not totally defenseless.
You heard it here first, guys. Quick scoping montages from Hawken.
Using the sniper kit effectively.
Aggressive sniping. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Paul and Jason for some questions from you guys from Twitter. And, we'll see you in about 30 seconds.
Woo! Gonna pee-pee.
You got that tweet, John?
Already out.
I want to introduce you guys to Beard Voice. Have you ever heard of Beard Voice?
No.
Okay. Beard Voice was invented by Michael McDonald.
Oh.
I think I've told you about Beard Voice, haven't I, Jason? I have this theory that because of his beard, like that if you shaved Michael McDonald's beard, he would actually sound totally different. It's because of his beard it sounds the way that he does. His hair filters through his beard hair in a specific way to actually change it. Yeah, it's Beard Voice.
Beard Voice. I need to grow my beard back now so I can get some Beard Voice going. Michael McDonald speaks to me, but I can't understand what he's saying. That's right, Mark. Hex, beard too small for Beard Voice. That's a hashtag, Hex.
Beard too small for Beard Voice.
The assassin, the ultimate troll.
I bet Jared sounds like a total nerd.
If you shave it off. Hi guys,
Yeah.
you want to play some BLR?
Hey guys, it's Jared Garrison. I like gays.
He kind of sounds like that now, doesn't he? Like if
Yeah, a little
like,
bit.
hey.
That's it's a little Jared right there.
All right, so we're back. If you are watching us live, we just tweeted out if you want access to the alpha, you can retweet the tweet that we just tweeted, and anyone who retweets before the end of the stream, we will pick 10 random winners to get alpha keys. So that doesn't do any good for you audio listeners, but you should tune in live. So
Tweet it now, bitch.
You said tweet 7 times in one sentence, just so you know. I counted.
That's amazing.
That's a lot of tweet.
Well,
Pretty sure that
I mean-
was 7 times.
Oh,
I want
God,
to make sure they understand that it's on Twitter. That's
Guys, you know what
By the
Twitter
way,
is?
your name is-
So you're
Please.
Cheddar Chaz.
So you're telling me it's on Twitter?
If your name is Cheddar Chaz and you work for the site, you're not eligible. Sorry, bro.
Sorry, brah. We tried. I mean, we didn't try, but whatever.
If you come back,
So-
if Cheddar Chad, if you come back with a Beard Voice, then I may make an exception.
Nepotism is strictly disallowed except for beards.
Yes, exactly. So we do have some questions we collected from Twitter before the podcast began. Med's boss wants to know if there will be a Bender or Optimus Prime skin for the Max.
Oh,
That would be amazing.
especially a Bender skin.
Yeah.
A Bender skin would be
And the
fantastic.
fuel gauge just says beer instead of fuel.
Ooh,
Fuel
Actually-
gauge says Gamma Labs.
Oh, that's gold, Jason. I think we need to write that down.
man, the Bender Mech.
Might run into some issues with the Bender character, but
We might have some problems with both of those.
Better get on that licensing.
Fender.
Fender.
His name is Fender. Yeah.
Licensing.
Claptrap. There you go. So I think there is going to be a lot of customization, though.
There's going to be a lot of customization. That is for sure.
So
We definitely
yeah.
want to be able to customize the the visuals of their Mac. People are, what's the word? Egotistical. They like they like they
Way
like
to win them over, Paul.
Look at me. Look
That's
at me.
a pro tip from Paul.
Yeah. I'm going to be giving these away for free all night. So seriously, if you're not listening to this podcast, you are missing out. Step one: listen to Paul's.
So you're
pro
all
tips.
egotistical pricks and listen to his pro tips because he is superior.
No, I guess what I'm saying is like people care about what they look like, right? You know, like if you, it's. I mean, some people do. I can't say all people do. Like people that play, some people when they play MMOs, they spend a lot of time creating their character because they care about what their character looks like, and they have to look at it and they want it to look cool. Some people don't care about that, but there are people that do, and we want to definitely give those people options to like customize their mech and make it look the way that they like, you know, so that when they're rolling around on the battlefield, they're like, yeah, I'm in a badass mech.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
I may
care.
or may not. John, you do. I may or may not have had tons of role-playing gear in my WoW bags. That may or may not have been a thing.
Did I do it? Wait. Did I just hear role playing gear and WoW bag?
Well, we called it that, but it was more just like cut off
Classic,
in a room
classic
or,
items are like
yeah,
skimpy skirts.
Yeah,
really
Whatever.
weird.
Usually skimpy
it's-
skirts to dance on the
I
mailbox
like
in the
how Nick
cities.
Stenton is laughing as if Nick hasn't done this too.
It's a nervous laughter.
It's a nervous laughter.
It's a deflective laughter.
I've never.
Oh, you guys are so funny. Yeah.
It's so weird that you guys play on an RP server. I've never done that. That's so weird. Yeah, it's
So customization.
from
Well, Hawken has custom
customization
skirts.
to LARPing.
Yeah,
Can I put a skirt on my mech?
Oh,
That'd
God.
be amazing.
I won't say no at this point, but
Yeah, I mean, we haven't made one yet.
you know that price range you gave me? $1 million. It's coming in for a skirt.
For you, $5 skirts.
All right, next question. We got Chris Jones asks, will the game be available on Steam at some point in time?
So
Probably on, but we'll see.
Oh,
that is-
Paul's jumping on that one.
Go ahead, Paul.
Jason, you want to take this one?
No. Well, what I will say is, as of right now, there are no immediate plans to have Hawken out on Steam. At least right now, we've been in talks with them. It's not something that obviously we all love Steam. There's a lot of Steam is awesome as a platform. Heck,
We love you, Steam.
We love you, Steam. It has nothing. We
It's
are.
not you. It's us. It's us.
No, we are. I mean, we are open to it. Down the line, what we want to do is what we're focusing on right now is making sure that the game works, that it runs smooth, that we're ready there for launch in December. We have our own, our back end that we're building. There's a lot to this game behind the scenes and behind the curtains that it's a lot more complicated and a lot more detailed than it may seem, even on the surface. And I know there will probably be other discussions and other announcements about some of those details about what we're actually doing server side. So it's not that we don't want Steam, it's that we are focusing our time and efforts right now on just making sure the game runs and works really well on launch. So Steam is something that's possible in the future, but right now we aren't planning on launching on it.
Yeah, it's like Jason said. I mean, first, one of the things that's important to remember is that like our game's very complicated and has a lot of interconnected systems, and so getting those systems to work with another platform is not trivial. So we definitely, that takes time, and I'd say it's time we don't have right now because we're, like Jason said, more focused on just getting the game out, and we have to focus on that and make sure that we're worried about the quality of the game. But yeah, we definitely want the game out on as many platforms as possible, right? Like, I don't think we would ever say no, we don't want to put this game on a platform that has 20 million or 40 million people playing. No, we don't want to put this game on consoles. Like, we would never say that because that's silly. Of course we do. Of course we want to put the game out to where as many people can see it as possible.
All right, so there you go. Maybe at some point. At Sage the Elephant asks, "How shitty of a PC can I get away with to run Hawken?"
That's a great question.
That is a great question, especially the phrasing of that in particular was rather sweet. We are. I know that's a totally good question. I have a lot of people asking about that stuff. What I will say is, I'll sort of phrase it this way. Internally, we have our min specs that we're shooting for. We are since we are a free-to-play game, we would be absolutely shooting ourselves in the foot, in the head, and every place else that you can think of if we were limiting our game to be able to only run on high-end PCs. Just, it's not feasible. We have we've announced we have a deal. I mean, we are going to China. And there are other places in the world that that we're going to be there, and not all PCs are super high-end PCs. What is really important to me is for the game to be in as many hands as possible, to give people the options there. I'm all about, as a PC gamer, I'm all about options, right? I'm all about, hey, let's. All right, so the game doesn't necessarily look the prettiest thing in the world. Just dial those settings back. But if you want something that's really going to push the hardware you have, just push that stuff up. Turn all those options on and make it look super pretty, and we'll have an option for that. So I have right now. I'm looking out the window out upon the sea of an awesome team here, and there are a few people right now who are doing nothing but optimization.
Can I get one of those whistles again? Just one.
They were pretty damn good whistles.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I was the only one, but.
The chat is like blowing up with your whistles. There's a new hashtag going out.
Sounded
quick
really
tip whistles.
legit.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was Skype or something, because it was like, I don't know, some next level whistling.
I was trying hard not to laugh, and I just I couldn't do it.
So as I lifted my head up, I'm looking out over the sea of people, and there are multiple people right now working just on optimization.
Can we just get some MP3s that I can download of?
Really what it is it's like grandma's boy. Jason has actually been working on a mech game for so long, he actually makes mech noises now when he moves. So
every step just.
Oh man.
I am a little crazy. I do tend to do sound effects sometimes, just for. I don't know, just for what I do, I guess. I gotta tell you. So there you go. That's the answer. We want to be on as many PCs as possible, and optimization is a huge focus for me right now. I have multiple people on it.
That's actually one of the things that's a big focus for us for these alpha and beta tests is we're actually getting machine information and getting compatibility testing data, right? That's the thing with PCs that's so crazy. I've been a huge PC enthusiast for a long time, and I build my own machines. I don't buy from companies anymore, and so like there's so many possible permutations of what can be inside of a PC, and it's like mind-boggling how like just one little stupid thing, like, oh, they're using this type of memory with this graphics card, and boom, all of a sudden, because of the way the memory writes to pages, or because of the fact that like AMD processors do low-level math differently than Intel processors do, all of a sudden your like quantum determinism breaks, and like it's
Paul's
funny,
pro
but
tip. Your quantum determination will break if you're.
It's funny. It sounds like a joke, but like I actually worked on a game where like we were porting it to PC, and because of the way they were doing the network, they weren't using lockstep, which is a very typical kind of network programming stack. They were using a method called quantum determinism, which essentially says like based on all the possibilities and realm of data points that I have, there's only really one likely outcome for this next event.
So Paul's telling you how to make games too now.
It's a form of interpolation, but it essentially.
Did John Carmack just join us?
Sorry if I got a little deep dive there. Did I just chat with science? I'm sorry.
Someone said id AA Hawken over here.
Yeah. But
vector interpolation, coordinate plane.
Oh, he's going Carmack on us. Oh shit! Who's in the house, bitch? Don't kill our buzz, Paul. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but I mean that stuff happens with compatibility. So we want people to be able to play the game, and we want people to be able to play the game regardless of what they're using in their machine. Unless, I mean, if you're using an E machine, I don't know, guys. Might have to upgrade.
Might want to invest.
Even if you look at something as simple like as a driver version, the amount of performance gain and lost between driver versions for a game is massive. Then you factor in every single piece of hardware in a machine. It's a lot of combinations.
Yep.
Yeah. But this game is running on Unreal. If I'm
Unreal 3. Yep.
Unreal 3.
It's running on Unreal 3. And if you're playing Unreal 3 games on your machine already, then you're already in a good place.
Yep.
Yeah, if you guys know, I mean, a lot of our fans have played Blacklight Retribution, and that game
is bad.
Just
kidding. Okay.
Wow, dude.
Wow.
Good thing Jared can't watch tonight. But that game looks absolutely fantastic on as high as everything can go, and you can still run it on low, and it's still, very much playable.
Unreal 3 is very
so you can
scalable.
expect that.
Yeah.
It plays well, so expect that.
Well,
I would say,
and-
just as a
yeah.
rough estimate, this is not something that I'd want people to to completely hold me to. But if you want like a rough estimate, like the videos and stuff that you've seen, those are sort of in the what I would say is sort of the upper mid kind of specs. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to be putting in that's going to look even that's going to sort of push the higher end even higher. So yeah, that's what I would say in the videos that you've seen. Those I wouldn't say that those are high specs. Those are high medium specs is probably what I'd say. So people should keep your ears open on us when we talk about our specs. But ultimately, that's the bigger picture. Just as many.
If it's going to look better than that, I'm going to upgrade just so I can run it.
As many people who can play it as possible. That's really the goal.
All right, so we have one last question. This one's from Fat Attack 82. Are there going to be night maps?
Oh,
good question.
night maps.
Good question. Nothing I can promise right now. Nothing I can promise. But look, that's a lot of stuff that we've talked about. Is not only in maps. I mean, we have. Oh man, I can't. The maps that. The maps we have in store, you guys wouldn't believe. I'll just leave it at that.
What a troll!
I think there was that as a troll question, but it's
a troll question.
I know, Nighthawk and I get it.
Here it comes. Yep. All right. Well, it had to happen. But I think there was speaking of maps, regardless of Fat Attack's epically well played troll.
Unicorn map.
That would actually be pretty awesome, though.
It would actually be, because I think there was
map.
2 maps playable at PAX, if I'm not mistaken, or a second map.
There were 3 playable at PAX.
You heard it here first, KBMOD. There's going to be a robot unicorn map.
Dude, there it is, guys.
Wouldn't that be amazing, Jason?
Lindsay Shire crossover.
Yeah, nothing but rainbows come out of the thrusters.
It'd be like Pyromania, except on Hawken. There you go.
So there you go, guys. That pretty much wraps it up here with the guys from Hawken. We are giving away those codes, as we said. There was a tweet that we tweeted, which you need to retweet. I just said tweet a lot,
So
too.
apparently it has something to do with Twitter, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, it might be related.
If you haven't learned
might need a
anything
Twitter
else
account.
tonight, you've at least learned how to be the best fucking Hawken player on the planet, courtesy of...
Yeah.
Pro tip.
Pro tips, Paul.
Sir.
We'll make sure to have Paul back on once the esports really get going here, so he
Because
can.
he'll be the
get
one
to-
standing on the pedestal holding that gold medal.
Yeah, we'll see about that. That's going to be really tricky when most people here at Adhesive can beat them. So, I don't know.
It's actually not true, but there are people at Adhesive who can beat me. One in particular, Miles. Miles is a deadly bastard.
Most. Well, I guess we'll just see when it hits, won't we, Paul?
Yeah. Well, we can see right now. Hey, Alpha's going, Jason. I've been waiting in those servers. Where have you been?
You do realize I have the power to make it so you never win, right?
God damn it!
Hashtag PTP going down. All right, guys. Thanks so much to Hawken for being on tonight. We're going to take a break, and then we will be back with the show proper, heading into the news and all that for you guys. And thank you so much, Jason and Paul, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I think everybody loved it. And Alpha, you can win it. We just said that. Beta coming up after that. And then 12-12-12, of course, is the release of Hawken.
That's right.
So keep tuned to us for news.
And we got
Either
Twitter
way.
handles. Jason, your digital Hughes. Paul
right.
was Pablo Ponage, and then follow Hawken at Play Hawken.
Yep.
Everyone is welcome to on Twitter. We're pretty personable. I try to get back to everybody. I know Paul does too, and certainly the Play Hawken handle, that alias. Definitely, community is a big thing for us. So say hi. Don't be afraid to.
And be on the lookout for that pro tip Paul guide, pros.
Oh God.
Seriously, guys, I dropped that shit like gold, so watch out.
All right, we'll be back after this break. Oh,
Pretty sure US currency is going to get swapped out for just pro tips.
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually
Can
will be
I
able to
pay you in
walk
pro
into-
tips?
Yeah, I'll walk into a local 7-Eleven and just be like, "Do you know who I am?"
Somebody will ask to pay in
I'm pro
Trident
tip.
players, and you'll
Would
say,
you like
"No, I'll pay you in pro tips."
Check or pro tip?
Someone just asked if we can have YouTube be permanent podcast members.
Pro tips will be like countries too. So like depending on who gave the pro tip, it will be more or less valuable.
The currency
So Korean
exchange.
pro tips are going to be the
Based on
most
the current
valuable in the
exchange
world.
rate.
Yeah.
Pro tip arbitrage.
What is your yen to pro tip exchange rate?
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
that was
thanks
a
for coming
blast.
on. We really had fun.
No problem. You guys are great. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. It was awesome.
So we'll go into the normal podcast here, a sort of abbreviated version. We'll try to get through quickly, as those guys took up a lot more time, man. They were very talkative, very cool. So what have you guys... Well, this is probably, I don't know, for most of us, probably pretty easy question to answer, but what have you guys been playing this past week of awesome releases?
Borderlands
Team-
Torchlight 2.
Team
Yeah.
Fortress 2.
Except John.
And then I'm going to regret the decision of Mr. Pandaria.
Did you really do it?
Oh, no.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it after the show. I feel like I have to, just because I paid for the yearly subscription and it's not up for another 2 months. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with it just sitting there? I might as well just get a level 90 and then quit.
Do
So-
Yeah,
you
my-
feel like at this point you're like clinging on to old memories of World of Warcraft? Like you're just trying to
No,
you're
I-
grabbing air for stuff.
John always gets super into it for like the first month of an expansion. He gets
Yeah,
super
and then I
into it. Yeah, and then he stops right after that.
It's just not. It's not even that good anymore. But there's nothing else for me to play because like Borderlands 2, I think I could probably play it. But Torchlight, Diablo games like that, they're just not for me. So they're just not. I don't like loot games.
We can play Smite, but you fell asleep at like 8 p.m.
I did, and I slept until like noon the next day. It was awesome.
Shout out to the ladies of Kill Jaden. It's just said in the chat. But yeah, I'm not going to take the plunge. I tell you what, I would buy it because it's only $15 for this expansion. I
What?
would
Really?
Yeah, on Newegg, it's $15.99. I would have gotten it, but I just can't. The subscription. If there was no subscription, I would buy it right now and play.
John's buying it right now.
Yeah, John is buying it right now.
So give me a
Um,
key to activate now, or do I have to wait for it to get here?
I don't know. I didn't look. I just saw it advertised on Newegg's thing.
No,
Your
it's
best,
already-
if you want it right away, it's probably just get it from Blizzard. but-
$15 is the strategy guide, you fucking retard.
Oh, was it?
I love buying strategy guides.
Well, it's not much more then.
The limited
much-
edition guide's
Do
$30.
not buy me a
They-
month. I'm not going to play the game.
There must be people that are buying them if they're still making like physical strategy guides. I don't.
It's 40?
Yeah, it's 40.
Me and All Sham, we're playing. Let's go, Mark.
Hell, that is a fucking ripoff. It should be $20. That's terrible. That's terrible. Fuck that. $40.
I'm not even gonna
Nope.
buy the game. I'm just gonna buy the strategy guide. I'm just gonna read it.
That's way too
'Cause
much
I
for
love
some
war.
fucking. I'm sorry, dude.
This is coming from the guy who's waited outside in the freezing cold to spend $40 on a World of Warcraft expansion.
It's true. That's how bad I think pandas are. That's how bad they are.
Trashing
just
Alliance
buy-
characters in the hood of Oakland, Pennsylvania.
Just buy Kung Fu Panda. It's cheaper and the same thing. True.
I feel like it's probably better than Mr. Pandaria.
So I'm guessing. Well, what were you?
Skadoosh.
Because I don't know if I saw you on Borderlands. Right? I saw you on Guild Wars a shit ton. I think.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did play some Guild Wars. Really just Guild Wars and Smite. I don't really know why I've gotten into Smite a bunch, but
It's
I'm
so
really liking
good.
it now.
It's
It is
so
it's really good.
Solid.
I've traded one high res game for another. I didn't play any tribes this weekend.
It
That's
takes
how that
everything
game
that
is in
makes
decline.
League of Legends and Dota awesome, and then just makes it even awesomer because it's third person.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like
That's-
the
that's my-
WASD. That's like that. The MOBA concept clicks with me if I can still use WASD and move around. So it's been good.
Yeah, and it's the PvP aspect is more prevalent, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
it's like World of Warcraft PvP, except not terrible. World of Warcraft PvP is fucking terrible, and Smite's not.
Burning Crusade Arena style. That's what we want. But I think Nick and Hex and I have all been pretty much playing the same thing.
I mean, Torchlight 2, Borderlands 2. Do you really need anything else right now?
That's pretty much all I saw on my Steam list this weekend.
God, Borderlands 2 launch night, it was, that friends list was just solid. Through just Borderlands 2, Borderlands 2, Borderlands 2.
And I will say this, it's fucking awesome.
It's excellent.
Really good.
And I actually wasn't, like, I liked the first game. I played about 6 or 7 hours of it, never finished it. But, like, I wasn't super into it. But this game, I was blown away pretty much the entire time I was playing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just instantly fun. Like Borderlands kind of starts out a little slow, but 2 just like, okay, here's a gun, go shoot all the things, and then get more guns.
I can't think of anything from the first one that I miss, really. I think it's all just an improvement for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like the first one,
I think
you'll love the second one.
The first Borderlands was, I think, just like a concept for them. It's like, let's see how well Diablo works. That's pretty much what they saw with Borderlands, I think. And then they got like this cult following, and then they realized how they could just make it incredible, and that's what they did.
Yep. And it's, I mean, and you gotta say, the PC version really, truly is the version to have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can tell they put a lot of time into developing it for the PC, like, just lovingly so. The menus are solid. For once, the menus in the first one were terrible, and every option you could want with a graphics card is in there.
Yep. And they wrote PC players a love letter, so
yeah, and they delivered on every single thing in it.
I did not play the first one on PC.
Gearbox, it seems like out of any company, really learned from their mistakes in terms of one sequel to the next.
As far as the big guns, yeah, they're the ones who care the most. It appears, but. Yeah, if anyone has, someone just mentioned physics in the chat.
Oh, so
the
good.
NVIDIA physics. Oh my goodness, in that game, they took full advantage of that. But
can't do that with a console port.
Nope. And I've been blown away by that game. Much surpassed my expectations. And then there's Torchlight 2, which I now have 20 plus hours in.
I'm only about 4.
I think I have 10.
So. Yeah, I'm in that mode. I'm already in that mode where my build was not right on my Outlander, so I have re-rolled him.
Oh, wow.
And I am doing it again. So I'm already in that, which is a bad sign for my life.
Yeah, once I started playing a little more of the engineer class, I realized like the dual-wield build that I have right now is just terrible. It's just garbage. I need to redo it. But it's like, do I really want to play the first part of the game over again? Because I've died in Elite Hardcore so many times already.
Yeah. So, and the difficulty level, just everything about Torchlight 2 has been fantastic. So, if you haven't checked those out, guys, obviously Borderlands 2 is a premium price right now. It's about 50 or 60 pretty much everywhere, except for Green Man Gaming might still have it.
There have been deals for like 40, though. Like
yeah.
40.
Yeah,
Green Man had it for like 37.
Yeah. So, there's deals on it.
Buy a new video card and get it for free.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. That's actually probably like the best deal.
If you were planning on buying a new video card anyway, and Borderlands, you could get basically the 660 Ti for the price of a 660 at this point.
And if you can we clear this up right now though? If you get a new video card and you don't get the 660 Ti Power Edition, I'm going to punch you in your face.
What if you got 2 regular 660s?
What if I got 2 7970s?
No, get the 660 Ti Power Edition.
So. And then Torchlight 2, of course, $20.
Yeah, I mean, that's just...
It's worth your money. If you liked Diablo 3 at all, if Diablo 3 was your first game in this genre, just get Torchlight 2.
If Diablo 3 was your first game in this genre, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But the thing is like, John, for instance, just doesn't like that style of game.
Not
but
for
if you liked Diablo 3, like, you like the way that plays, then get Torchlight 2. It'll be well worth your $20.
Oh, yeah.
So... Definitely check those out.
Even for me, Torchlight's worth $20.
And a lot of us have played Hawken, and all we can really say, it's pretty good.
It's good.
That's about as much detail as we can go into with the NDA.
We now interrupt your scheduled programming to bring you an urgent broadcast from the front lines of America.
So now we're going to move on to some news here, guys. Because we went lots of time at the Hawken guys. We're going to kind of fly through a little bit of stuff here. So Brandon saw this, and so did I. I don't know if you saw this, Hex, as the guys who really pay attention to the hardware stories, but the 8000 series already has been leaked. The specs for the 8870 and 8850.
Do they still run on Catalyst drivers?
Which seem to have been improving quite a bit if you watch the Tech Syndicate video today. Giving Skyrim 30 more frames with the latest drivers.
Is that with one card or two?
One.
Okay. Put another one in and then tell me what happens.
Yeah, you lose 85, so...
Yeah.
You get negative 13 frames.
I got into a fucking Twitter fight this week with somebody about how AMD was a fine piece of hardware, and I was like, I'm not arguing that, but show me the software that runs it.
Twitter fight.
So where is this? I'm looking here, Brandon.
Actually, so there's not really a ton to tell because it's just it's like a leaked PowerPoint slide, but the 8870 and 8850 specs they look pretty impressive, but more than that, I think what is impressive is the supposed MSRP for these cards. The 8870, according to the leak, is going to have an MSRP of $279. The 8850 is going to have an MSRP of $199. So if these leaks are right, then it seems like AMD is going to go right for the throat in terms of the price competition right off the bat, which I think is something they need to do. If you remember with this generation, they started their cards out way too high a price, and then they had, 3 price drops now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of egg on their face, I think, that their prices are constantly dropping, and so I think people that bought those cards early probably feel a bit burned now. So I think in order to stay competitive with NVIDIA, they probably got to go for that price point right off the bat, and it looks like they're going to.
I really just wish that between them and NVIDIA, they could decide on what the outputs on their card are going to be. Because I had the 6870s and then went and bought 2 active freaking mini DisplayPort adapters, and then
I got 2 of those as well.
Now I've got my 60, and it's 1 DisplayPort, 2 DVI, and 1 HDMI. Do you want to use mini? Do you want to use regular?
I just wish they would decide between DisplayPort and mini DisplayPort.
Yeah. And there's no reason.
It should be a standard. That should be an industry standard.
Well, you need DisplayPort standard for laptops.
I just don't understand why. I mean, that wouldn't be a standard. It fucks up cords. You have to get all these adapters and shit.
I remounted a monitor this week because of that stupid DisplayPort, but at least it works.
I'm $130 into adapters because I run triple monitors, so
yeah,
that's a pain point.
I built monitor stands this weekend with my IKEA hack for $8 each. So
I know you beat me, dude.
Nice.
My hack cost $12.
Yeah, mine.
Damn it.
Mine. My wheels were on sale for $2.99. My eggs for it, and then the shelves were $6. So I have 2 fucking gorgeous looking monitor stands for $16 total.
We've talked about this before, but the IKEA monitor stand is $25. The actual monitor stand.
So you buy the parts to make it.
Boom. So next up, more AMD, and this is not even speculation. This is just more of a heads up.
Hold on. Last thing is I think those 8800 cards are supposedly launching in January 2013. So actually not that far away.
So everyone knows that Bulldozer was a piece of shit and was terrible, and it made me cry because, dude, it was fucking bad.
It's not an understatement. It was outbalanced by i5 750s.
My processor, the 965, is better than the FX 8150.
Wow.
I was going to say, there's your succinct Bulldozer review from Dan.
Yeah,
it's a piece of shit.
Terrible. Buy it.
But follow AMD Gaming.
And I was a huge AMD fan. And it still would be great for the industry, as we've said before, if there was some competition. So Pile Driver is coming up soon. We're not sure exactly when it's coming, but some of the specs have leaked. And the top-end one is going to be a 4 gigahertz 8-core with 8 megs of cache at $253. Now, at that price point, it better be on par with a 3570 or something. It better. Because, there's no point if they're doing it otherwise.
That at least gives me some hope that there's some performance, at least in that top chip. Because if they're going to charge $250 for it, it's going to have to be, I would say, like at least 2600K levels of performance.
I mean, we know it's not going to be a 3770K. We know that.
No,
I mean,
but that's if they're going to come in above the 3570K and the 2500K, they're going to have to beat it. And right now, they're not even close.
Yeah, but if you look at the specs for these right now, even their TDP for their top end is almost 30 watts higher than the 3770K.
They're really, really power hungry, but it's still essentially it's a Sandy Bridge to Ivy Bridge jump for them, even though there's no power loss. It's like not a huge like new instructions or anything. Version. Yeah. So this isn't like Ivy Bridge to Haswell. This is like Sandy Bridge to Ivy Bridge. So it's not a new architecture. Essentially, it's an improved bulldozer. Fucking Nick Fenton up there. What a scumbag up there in the corner.
You can see my glasses floating. It's hilarious.
So, but I want these to do well, not because I want to buy one, but because
you want to drive Intel to push themselves again. Intel can literally sit there for like 3 years at a time and have no competition, and that's not healthy. I need to spend money.
I think all Intel needs is the fact that there could be competition. Like, they don't know what AMD is doing behind closed doors, and I think it's still at that point where they're not so far ahead that they can really afford to rest, because AMD could have some sick architecture coming down the line that they don't expect. But I think if they get too far ahead, like we're starting to see, then that drive kind of goes away.
So you've seen what it's done with video cards. Some good, healthy competition.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's really made some bargains out there.
Oh, yeah.
As far as what you can get. So, and both sets of cards, regardless of the drivers, both sets of cards perform very well and are at pretty good price points right now. So, up next, we're moving on to this, which this is so cool. The Valve hardware beta starts next year. Be able to possibly beta test some hardware. I really think it's going to be some sort of console. I think Valve's moving to some sort of PC console thing with this.
I think they do something wearable, and they put some sort of console or box with it.
Yeah.
So some of the articles about that actually said that the woman that they talked to from Valve, the wearable technology is actually years off. I would imagine this is going to be closer to like a Steam box to start, and then they'll gauge the interest for it, and then move towards wearable computing. But I mean, she outright said, like, this is our first step into hardware, and the wearable computing is of interest, but it's probably 5 years down the road from now.
Oh yeah, no, I agree, but I think that their actual like shipping hardware is still probably 2 years out.
Oh yeah, I agree. This is, but I like that they're actually letting the hardware go out in public beta. Like, okay, well, this is our stuff. What do you think? And they can take community feedback like they do for everything and tweak it from there.
I'm pretty sure that Valve's wearable hardware is just going to be 2 Nintendo Power Gloves.
I think it'll probably be a hat.
It might be a hat, actually, given their TF2 hat fetish.
Well, thanks for spelling out the joke, Dan.
Yeah, I got your back, dude.
It's funny because I love hats.
But yes, so you can hopefully get into that beta. We'll see what's going on. You'll have a chance in the spring there, 2013. And up next is the always batshit insane Dream Machine 2012 from Maximum PC, which I will link in the chat here. And this year, of all years, I think they went above and beyond the Call of Duty, especially with the price.
Well, they have $900+ in custom cooling. I mean, it's just absurd.
No, I've never seen. I think last year's was like 6,000 or something, like, which is a pedestrian number compared to the $14,482 they spent on this year's model.
A whole terabyte of solid state space. I mean, that's ridiculous.
2 690s. They have a $4,000. Yeah, it's $3,000 worth of monitors.
It's not just 690s. They're the Hydro Copper 690s, which are like $200 on top of a normal one.
Keep in mind, guys, you can get a MacBook Pro for the same price. This is definitely the better deal.
$14,000.
This is definitely the better deal of the two.
12 terabytes of storage. That's
64 gigs of 2133 RAM.
Yeah, they said they're using part of it as like a RAM drive.
Yeah.
They're using half of it as a RAM drive and half of it for the PC.
$700.
I just linked it in
job,
chat,
so.
people. There you go. Yeah, custom paint job. How much was that? $700? Yes. $700 on a TJ07, which is or a TJ11, which is even bigger. God. Silverstone makes some amazing cases. Yeah, that's a $600 or $590 case on this monster. I love Silverstone cases, but they are so expensive. And I love just seeing, it just cracks me up seeing the Cyborg Rat Albino $99, just like in the middle of like this
of multiple
massive
digit prices, like massive. Jesus,
I love how they threw Win 7 Professional. They should have said we just pirated that shit. Like they should have just thrown that on the end.
Well, if you're paying $14,000, you really don't
you can
care.
afford it. They have a freaking Xeon in this thing.
8-core Sandy Bridge E, yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised they went with that, though, because you can't overclock it. Or at least not with, I don't think you can multiplier overclock it.
No, they said you can't, and they said they thought about the sacrifice there, but decided for, like, content creation stuff, this would still be better.
Yeah.
Just because of the 8 cores.
Or they could have just gotten a Dell. So
yeah, they could. Dude, you could have gotten a Dell.
We got a Dell.
So they benchmarked it, and it actually didn't do that crazy. Well, it did in the 3D Mark. The 3D Mark was double their test system.
Mm-hmm.
With their test system had a 3930K and a GTX 690 in it, and this just basically doubled it. So it's pretty crazy. We just kind of threw that in there because of how completely insane it is. And it actually is, it works. All right, so we're going to take a quick 30-second break and we'll be back with some game news for you, bros. $14,000. I couldn't believe it, actually. I don't think they've ever gone that expensive.
Yeah, they really went off the rails, like with 2 of those crazy expensive Dell monitors too.
Yeah, they're super good.
Or you could make like 7 really good PCs and have a LAN room.
Yeah.
What I don't get is, like, why even stop at 2 Dell monitors? Why not just, why not get 6 of them and have a $22,000 PC? You could have gotten a car, or you can have a PC.
If you're spending $14,000 on PC, you probably have a car.
Probably have lots of cars.
Yeah. Lots of cars.
You have lots of cars and lots of houses.
Lots of cars.
Lots of women.
So, up next we have some game news. With first of all, we're starting with a throwback here. Kind of an amazing mod, too, and a pretty massive undertaking. We posted this today, actually. The Skywind mod it's not quite out yet, I don't believe. This guy is modding the entire town of Morrowind into Skyrim.
Those Elder Scrolls fans are crazy.
Yeah, those guys are nuts. I've actually heard from multiple people who've played a lot of games in the series that Morrowind is the best one.
I've never played that one.
It is.
So, I've played Oblivion, but I haven't played Morrowind.
I hated Oblivion.
I like Oblivion. You have to mod the shit out of it, but I like it. So, yeah. So go ahead and you can, if you're a modder, you can try your hand at this too, because he needs help apparently. We've got a link there in that article. But yeah, so it's a pretty massive mod, probably the biggest mod that I've seen as far as scale. So definitely check that out, guys, especially if you're a Skyrim fan. Can't get enough mods. Next thing up, another classic RPG. I don't know if Hex kickstarted this one. He might have.
Yep.
Project Eternity, which is being done by Obsidian, who made... Well, actually, there's a lot of classic guys behind this. The guys who made Fallout 1 and 2, Fallout New Vegas, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torment, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Arcanum, and the Temple of Elemental Evil, which I had never heard of that game.
Oh, you never heard of that?
The last one.
Go
No.
back and play that one. You'll like it.
But they are getting together to make a Baldur's Gate style old school on the Infinity Engine RPG, and they kickstarted it. Is it still? Yeah, it's still
It's got
going
3
on.
weeks to go. They're currently at
3 weeks to go.
$1.9 million of their original $1.1 million goal. So they're crushing it.
$1.9 million, and I'm actually really interested in this because Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the original one there, is amazing, and of course the Fallout games are fantastic. So definitely put some money towards that if you're interested in it. It should be amazing. It's basically an all-star team.
Oh yeah,
of developers.
It's like an RPG
from
dream
old school
team.
RPGs. Yeah, and it's going to be kind of Baldur's Gate style. They said it's going to end up being not turn-based combat, but like you'll be able to pause combat, kind of like Final Fantasy, actually,
Kinda like
or
KOTOR.
like Final Fantasy. Yeah, and Final Fantasy VII a little is what I got out of it. So definitely check that out. I am super pumped for it. I'd heard about it, but I hadn't really read too much into it until this Ars Technica article, and watch the Kickstarter video because it's cool just to see these basically legends in game development talking about it. So next up we have Diablo 3, which they just can't stop messing with. And hopefully I'll have a bigger article about this in the next couple weeks. But I actually like some things they're doing. Basically, patch 1.05 is going to be an absolutely massive patch for the game. It's going to bring back some things from Diablo 2. I wonder why I like it. But they're going to bring back Monster Power, which was the thing you could do if you were playing solo in Diablo 2. You could put in a console command called Players 8, and it would make the game as difficult as if there were 8 players in the game. And so everything would scale up. Loot drops would scale up, everything. So you could play that solo and get more drops. So they've put that in, and what they want to do is allow players to set the difficulty, and if you play it on default, it'll actually be easier than the current game. So Nick fell asleep. It does look like Nick fell asleep. It does. He might have.
Or he had a heart attack.
I think your webcam is frozen.
Yeah, it is,
Okay.
but that's sweet.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I just look like my head is on my desk.
So it looks pretty good, to be honest. And they're also introducing something which I've talked about before, which was the Uber bosses in Diablo 2, which are basically much harder versions of the current bosses. Jason Hughes trolling our Skype chat. But you can make this Inferno machine now and fight a couple bosses at once. They won't go into too much detail, and you have to collect the parts, and that will take a lot of time. And then you can make a unique ring out of it. So they're trying desperately to make the game relevant again. How much that's going to work?
They need
I
a
don't
fucking
know.
ladder.
Yeah, dude, tell me about it. Why did people even play D2? It was all about the ladder. The ladder even had better items than the regular game that you could only get in ladder. I just don't understand what they've been doing with D3 overall.
Casual games, lol.
Just get Torchlight 2, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Just do that.
I do have to give them a hand though. Like they've been pretty vocal about the changes they're trying to make. I think they're probably not satisfied. It doesn't sound like they're satisfied internally with kind of the game's post-launch reception, because they've been pretty public about all these patches. I think the thing that I think they really have to get out is PvP. Like not having PvP at this point, I think for them looks kind of embarrassing given how long the game has been out, and the fact that they were kind of like, oh, it's not going to be at launch, but you know, it's going to be there pretty soon after. And you know, I think this says Jay Wilson said they're trying to get it out this year. I hope you get it out this year. there's a lot of big games coming down the line, and Diablo 3 is quickly losing relevance.
Well, and Blizzard's about to release Heart of the Swarm. They're going to release one of their own big games. So
yeah, they're going to stomp on their own game pretty much. Especially if they come out with that and then the PvP patch comes out like at the same time. You'd think they would try to stagger that.
Well, I think the one good thing is that there's so many changes with each patch that's coming down the line that someone that did buy Diablo 3 and maybe enjoyed it and just got bored or kind of got disenfranchised with the auction house or whatever it was, if you come back to Diablo 3, in 6 months or so, it's going to be a whole different game in terms of the way it plays. So you'll probably be able to get a lot of replay value out of it once a lot of the stuff is patched and you've been away from the game so long.
it basically just sounds like the game got pushed out and it actually needed about 6 to 8 more months of development time before it was polished enough to be released. And that is my biggest complaint with their merger with Activision, is that Blizzard would never do that. They've canceled entire games because it wasn't up to snuff. Just forget it, cancel it. StarCraft Ghost, Warcraft Adventure, both scrapped because they weren't ready.
Or StarCraft Ghost. I really wanted that.
I think everybody really wanted that.
So yeah, I think they're moving in the right direction in some ways. I'd probably try this patch. I will probably give D3 a go with this patch, honestly, because I want to see what the Inferno Machine does. But moving on, next to one of our favorite games, Killing Floor. Getting Steam Workshop support, making it easier for you guys to get some of the absolutely crazy mods that are out for Killing Floor, and making it easier for modders to get it to you. So definitely check that out. It's coming out soon.
Isn't Left 4 Dead 2 also getting Steam Workshop?
It just
got it, yeah. And then all the Red Orchestra games
That's a lot of stuff
at the same time. So if you're into mods, and there is a KBMOD Killing Floor server, kbmod.com/servers. So check that out. But yeah, there's a lot of cool mods. There's a full Doom 2 mod. There's a level that's fully in hell. There is a gun game, which I played one night with like 30 people. It was insane. So there's a lot of mods out there for Killing Floor. But that's definitely one of our favorite games if you don't have it. It's on sale. Oh, I guess it's over now. Yeah, it was on sale this weekend.
It goes on sale like every month. So
it's on sale
for the next cycle.
And now it's time for Twitter questions with the KBMOD podcast.
We're going to move straight on into Twitter as time is becoming of the essence. What does this first question even mean? I'm going to go ahead and ask it, but I don't even know. So, on to Twitter. Basically, Daz Assassin wants to know, which KBMOD member would you take with you to the grave?
Wow. No delay.
Nick Fenton, so I could rest my head upon his supple breasts for all of eternity.
At least they're supple, if anything.
At least.
How supple are your tenders, Nick?
My tenders, wow. Tenders.
Flashy right there.
Wow.
They're pretty supple. I've got 3 nipples, so.
He does have 3 nipples.
Supple is the best word. Supple is the best word.
My supple tenders bring all the boys to the yard.
I guess I would have to go with Nick by default because I assume the question implies that we're both dead.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Hugh, kill Nick Fenton, 2012. Still funny. Hugh.
420 ganja. No, I didn't say because I wanted to kill you. I said because I wanted to rest my head upon your supple tenders for all of eternity.
Understandable.
You're very comforting, Nick.
You're very. He's. If you got to spend your life with somebody, you want somebody as loving and nurturing as Nick.
Yeah. You know what, Scott?
Nurturing. I don't know.
Scott hits. I don't want
Scott hits. Does he?
Scott hits.
Scott drinks too much.
Scott has night terrors. It's just like, yeah. Well, I don't think that would really carry over when you're dead. He has dead terrors.
So next question, Mike. I still don't know what the fuck this guy's Twitter name means. I'm sorry, dude. Mike Stilly Diggin. If you could bang one video game character, who would it be? I'm gonna leave out that second half, but if you could bang one video game character, who would it be?
Didn't we answer this
Princess
question one
Toadstool, just to find out why Mario was so about that pussy.
Yeah, dude.
I just
He
need
is
to
all
know
about
that shit.
that.
That shit
About
must
that
be
life.
fucking fantastic. Because that shit went on for like 20 years. He was all about that.
Yeah, dude. He rescued her from like 80,000
It's
castles,
just
man.
changed Mario. Be like, that pussy in another castle.
Ghetto Mario. Yeah, it's got to be Toadstool. Tris Marigold is
I
a
don't know.
fucking good.
Alex
fucking good
Vance.
answer.
Alex Vance.
Tris Marigold is a good
Saint
one
Alex
from
Vance.
The Witcher. Tiny Tina from Borderlands.
God, she's like 13.
That's terrible. It's terrible.
And she's
The
obviously
fat
like-
lady. Oh, Ellie.
Ellie?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
all about that,
Yeah,
Ellie.
that's great.
Take
choice
that
there.
for a ride. Take that Ellie for a ride. Yeah.
She's pretty supple in her tenders.
Yeah, she's real supple.
Maybe Chell from Portal.
There you go. Yeah.
She's been lonely for a while too. So
She's lusting for the gawk. Yeah.
Imagine the things you could do with portals. Imagine.
Imagine the sex that could be had.
Imagine that.
I think there's a lot of Rule 34 gifts.
And
for
plus,
that.
like, you know, you can do the momentum with the portals, so you could just like stand here with a boner and throw her, and she'll start gaining momentum, and then you just jump in between the portals. That'd be fantastic.
tear your penis off. I have a feeling.
You could.
That's the whole new definition of Pound Town. You take her straight to Pound Town.
Wow.
There. Now that I think of it, there are some really awful things you could do with portals.
Yeah. So speaking of awful things to do with portals,
No, this way. If you're banging her in between the portals and you like shit, it's gonna come and hit her in the face.
Why would you think of that? Why would you think of that?
Why not? Just shit
Oh,
into
God.
the portal and have the other portal in her face.
This is officially the last KBMOD podcast.
Why not? You guys are scared of her. Something.
this next question though is relevant. At Rohan 112211 asks, "How are babies born?"
How is Babby formed?
How is that?
How is Babby formed? How is Babby formed? How are babies
Did anybody
born?
else have that moment in school when you had to watch the birth in like health class and it was like the
Yeah.
most terrifying thing?
It was terrifying.
No,
like-
what kind of fucked up school did you go to?
Public school?
I've seen.
It's basically like that. You know how much I would laugh if I had to watch that in health class and then John's face came out of a woman's vagina?
I've seen two births live, and the middle school thing is still traumatizing.
It's
as hell. That's
if I could
terrifying.
avoid seeing one live, that'd be great.
Well, they come out of the belly button, right? I mean, it's not that gross.
Yeah.
It's like a
You know,
chest burst.
girls pee out of their butts, so it's fine.
I don't.
There's a kid in high school who thought babies came out the butt.
What's gross
Yeah,
about
butt
a
baby.
bird dropping off a baby at your door? I don't get it.
A stork? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Next question. Whackman3209 wants to know, what is the best porn site?
nfen.com/meatspin.
Meatspin.com. It's definitely
PC
I'll
Part
stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stick to Newegg. Probably.
Yeah,
PC part picker.
picker's pretty good, although there's less pictures.
KBMOD.com. Wow.
YouTube.com/NFEN vids.
Yeah. Anything on that page.
God, that's really bad porn.
Do not link porn links in the chat, please. Thank you. Where are my mods at? Come on. Somebody went ham.
Wow.
At Signotic asks, why does soap smell good but taste bad?
That's a fantastic question because they say that 80% of your taste is smelling. I don't know.
Did anybody
I
else
don't even have an answer for that, to be honest.
But like
soap in their mouth?
Dan's
when they were
balls
kids?
smell terrible but taste fantastic. So
80% of the eating of Dan's balls was through your nose. Anybody else have to have soap in their mouth when they were a kid for swearing?
Yeah.
No?
I never
I
had to
did-
do that. No.
I had it once. I didn't even
handful.
swear. I said
When I was a
"You're-"
little kid, I swore I just,
I said
smoked
you're
some
a
ganja.
witch with a B. That's literally what I said, and I got soap in my mouth for that. I didn't even say bitch. I said you're a witch with a B.
Did you have that dirty pedo stash when you were a toddler as well?
Yeah.
When I came out of the womb.
When you came out of the belly button.
How terrifying.
I hope someone makes an animated GIF of that.
Next question. At Very X Lose asks, if you had to drown Nick Fenton in a bath of soup, which kind of soup would it be?
Borscht.
I felt, despite the dead meme in there, I felt this was an interesting
Can it be tomato soup? Because that's my favorite. And if I'm going to get drowned in soup, can it at least be my favorite?
That's true.
Okay,
That's
a French onion. So I can also smother you with cheese.
Actually, what kind of cheese?
Provolone.
Okay.
That's the kind of cheese you put on French onion soup. And I can stuff you full of croutons and provolone cheese.
I would put you in like a nice gumbo, like a really nice spicy gumbo.
Because you're going to ruin something. Make it something nice.
I don't want to get killed by Brandon.
Wonton soup.
I still say borscht.
Gumbo can have crustaceans in it. And
lobster bisque. Lobster bisque's a great idea too, Nick.
Yeah, lobster.
Because that would terrify Nick. Great call.
That's great, man.
Fenton bisque.
You wouldn't even have to kill me. I'd die in the soup just because I was there. Just being in that.
What about wonton soup? How would you feel about that?
That's a little racist.
Based. From what I hear, it's pretty based.
Only if you park your car beforehand.
Yeah. There's some woman sexing in there too. I don't know where that happens though.
In the soup.
At Yummy Man asks, what are your views on the paranormal?
Oh my god, I'm so scared right now.
Yeah, White Ditto is my only view on the paranormal. That's it. That's the only view I have. White Ditto.
I don't know. I've never had
Brandon's
an experience.
paranormal every podcast, so we
doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, we've confirmed otherworldly activity. We have a ghost on our podcast every week.
Yeah,
the ghost of Scott Fisher.
Yeah, ghost of Scott Fisher. It even sold out. It only lives in very fancy houses. Only haunts rich people. Fucking Scott. Next question. This one, I only picked it for the hashtag, but at KDZen18 asked, if you had to replace your left hand with a gun, what projectile would the gun shoot other than bullets? Hashtag Queen Latifah 2012.
Because she a thick bitch.
Because she a thick bitch. You heard it here first.
Hey, didn't I say that on the other one when Queen Latifah was a topic?
The last one I was on.
I would like to shoot a nice avocado out of a gun. Perhaps
like whole fruit?
Yeah, like a full avocado. Yeah.
Well, like one that's ready to be made into guacamole.
Hell.
No, I would then take the crushed avocado off of my target and create guacamole.
There you go.
That's efficient.
Portals.
I love guacamole, so
I shoot portals.
Portals is a good call.
So you could shit on one and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd put my other portal right above your bed.
Nigerian baby arms cannon.
Yeah,
that's Jared
Garrettson beard cannon. You just shoot somebody with it and boom, instant Garrettson beard. That's what I would want.
That would be kind of sweet, actually. The drill dough is not an option. You can't shoot drill doughs. They're attached. All right, they're attached to a drill. You can't shoot.
I like how that's where you get hung up on this question. Like, hold on, that's not realistic.
You can't shoot a drill dough.
Listen, I've had experience with these.
I went to college.
I went to college for this, and all right, we're coming in on the last question here, bros, and then we're going to talk a small amount of Extra Life, which I didn't put on here, but at Fat Attack 82, who had the best, most troll question ever for the Hawken guys, as our chat exploded with night hawking references. What was your first job, bros?
I was a dishwasher.
I was also a dishwasher. It was my first paid job where I was on a payroll. But I shoveled driveways like when I was like 10 all winter.
Oh, yeah.
Every
winter. I used to cut grass when I was a kid.
Yeah. I used to I've worked every day since I've been physically capable of doing so. Like when I was like 10, if it was snowing and it was winter, I was shoveling people's driveways for like $6. And then I'd go buy like a Nintendo 64 game for $80 and it was awesome.
Yeah. So, where did you guys wash dishes?
I washed dishes at a restaurant called Our Place.
I washed dishes for a bar and grill called The Village.
I washed dishes for King's restaurants, and it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
It was the worst.
I had a lot of friends who worked at King's in
ever.
high school, and they hated it.
My manager was on cocaine every day, and he was fucking out of his mind on cocaine. It was.
Did he do weeds?
It was scary. Oh, he did weeds.
Whoa, dude.
He definitely did weeds.
He did the marijuana?
He did 2 weeds once.
He drank a bottle of weeds and OD'd.
And didn't lose his legs like I did. So he was lucky. He was lucky stream. Hashtag awareness. Hashtag 420.
Johnny.
And
Kevin West.
I worked at a car wash. I washed cars.
You would work at a car wash. With your big muffler car. Brandon had a half shirt like pulled into a knot. He was all soapy.
Did you do shorts?
Soapy.
Yeah.
And you're working for tips.
I'm still working.
That's why Brandon's bankrupt now.
Yeah. Brandon's first job was like the summer before he went to college, just so you guys know.
Yeah, his job before that was playing World of Warcraft in complete silence at his house.
Well, I was paying for it.
Yeah.
That's yeah. All right.
Yeah,
that's too
accurate.
close to That's a true story. Yeah, help Dan get legs at donations.keylogger.ru. Target fuckkbmod.chineseslaves.net. That is where you can donate. What about you, Knack Finton?
I'm still working my first job, which is...
Wow, dude.
I don't want to be too specific because it's a small business in Minnesota, and those probably wouldn't be too hard to find, but it's medical equipment.
The Mall of America is not small.
Yeah, the Mall of America lead mopper.
I thought you work for Mark and Jarden.
Yeah,
Nick
I'm co-workers with Market and Jarden at KBMOD.
Nick Fenn makes real dolls for a living. It's medical equipment.
Nick Fenton, the medical equipment is for people to rest their heads on his supple tenders.
He's their best-selling model of real doll.
Real dolls.
I want a Nick Benton body pillow.
Fleshlights count as a medical supply, so that's my occupation.
He tests them before they go out.
God, that would be a great job.
It would be horrifying for the customer.
Or would it?
Just knowing every fleshlight ever sold, your dick was in before they used it. I'm going to go throw up just thinking about it.
All right, guys. So that was the last question. It went to places I did not think it would go, but there we go. But I just want to say a few words about Extra Life before we actually sign off. It's coming up even closer now, less than a month away, October 19th through the 20th. Looks like we'll have a big LAN contingent at Bob Postal's house, and everyone else will be chiming in with stuff. It looks like we're going to have some plethora of developers on with us throughout the day. Might have some competitive TF2 going on at some point.
Runic's coming back. They're coming back.
No true specifics hammered out. We'll get you guys like a highlight post once we have more specifics nailed down. But we will have like Hawken stuff to give away, Blacklight stuff to give away. Bob's 2500K is being given away.
I got to see some of the stuff today we're giving away at work, and it's pretty awesome.
And there is some... Bob told me we got some Microsoft swag.
Yep.
Some of it is Xbox Live centric, but still, it's stuff. So we'll be giving tons and tons of stuff away. And we do have the Hawken keys to give away, which we will tweet out. Yes? No? I would hope.
If you retweet the tweet before the stream ends, then you'll be entered.
Like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll pick the winners tomorrow.
All right, guys. So that's it for this episode 61. Make sure to follow us at KBMOD Gaming on Twitter. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/KBMOD. And, of course, KBMOD.com. We have a lot more content coming than we have been putting out. Hex went ham. Everyone went ham. So lots more stuff coming. Tomorrow night, the grind on this channel. Probably some Torchlight, too. So we will see you then, guys. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Later.
Oh, that was close. I don't know if we were 2 hours or not. That was very close.
No, we started a little late, so we're all right.
Yeah, we'll be fine for one video.
I also did not mark any of the fucking time shit for Mark.
He's gonna stab you.
Yeah.
Well, the one. Are we live still, or are we not?
No, we're dead.
No, we're dead. I'm gonna run a couple ads.
He's got to keep. He should keep in that break where Paul was like singing the Beard voice.
Yeah. Oh no, he keeps. I think he keeps in all. He should keep in the breaks. I'll tell him.
Scott does.
He said. I think he said he keeps in the ones that are like that are interesting.
Scott keeps them in because he says they're in because he's lazy.
Whoa, big lag spike on my end there.
Yeah, I was. It's funny when we had of them on, I wasn't lagging at all, and then when they left, I was getting lag intermittently and stuff.
Apparently, the race to the checkered flag in the Monday Night Football game was pretty fantastic. Apparently the quarterback threw a 3-pointer, and he hauled it down right on the warning track to end the game.
Did he make par?
Yeah, he did.
Nice. That's awesome. I love sports ball.
I'm having Ches start up the post show. Because why not? I did run a lot of commercials in the middle there, but that was on purpose. I love how people bitch about it. It's dumb.
Who bitches about commercials?
A lot of people.
Really? I guess I just don't pay attention to it.
Tons of retweets on that shit. You guys may have to figure it out tomorrow. I don't know.
I'm not even doing that tonight.
Say I'm not doing that.
You might want to tweet that the winners will be notified tomorrow.
I still have.
Okay.
I still have the Twitter account signed in if you want me to tweet it out.
Well, no, because it's already over. The timestamp